everybody. Welcome to Houdini Hangout. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. This is going to be a little bit of a different night. If you can't tell, you can see my background behind me because I don't want to have to just be floating in a black void with other people, you know, when I'm chatting with other people. So tonight we have the privilege of having Igor Severic with us, and we're going to talk in a minute here about. We'll start talking about some modeling techniques and some ideas that Igor has for, you know, ways of using Houdini to be in sort of a more of a fluid way with modeling. You know, we're kind of used to ways of doing modeling maybe in other programs, and since Houdini is I got a little love icon there for Igor Revo. Yeah, Houdini can be a little bit different, right? Because we're talking about a node-based program. We're talking about, you know, a little bit of a different workflow from some other programs and other software. So it's just a different kind of concept to try to wrap your head around. And I think a lot of people have never really braved and dug into some of these concepts. And so I think that's the really exciting thing tonight, is that Igor has some ideas and things like that. And so, you know, in a few seconds here, we'll get him on and we'll have him start talking through some of these things. But yeah, so hopefully if you guys have ideas and questions and things like that, just like we've done in the past, I'll be sort of moderating tonight and kind of chatting, and we'll talk, and I'll be watching the chat and that type of thing. But if you have questions and comments and thoughts, you know, please feel free to drop those in the I see Tom Waffle Boy there from one of the interns up at the Side Effects office. Can't comment on YouTube from Side Effects office. Hello Tom, welcome. Tom recently moved from Belgium, and so now he's on this side of the pond. What's up, Carlos? Welcome. Anyways, I don't remember where I was getting, but oh yeah, comments and things like that. So if you guys have questions and comments and things like that, I'll be kind of fielding those as Igor is talking. So I'm going to kind of wait for moments to kind of interject and be able to, you know, kind of moderate through the conversation. But Igor has some really cool, some ideas and things like that we're going to get to, and talk about maybe some of the, some of the different ways that he's kind of modified Houdini as in general, just to be able to work as a modeling platform. So, just like always, you know, there's no dumb questions. If you're new to modeling, if you've been modeling before in other packages, there's no dumb questions here. Feel free to ask whatever you might be curious about. You know, we're going to show some really basic, doesn't want to pollute his work computer with my YouTube channel. But you know, whatever you guys might be wondering, oftentimes other people are wondering the same things. And, you know, Igor has spent a ton of time digging into these things, but certainly we're all on a learning journey, as I kind of say a lot. You know, everybody here is learning. I'm learning. Everybody's learning. So, you know, we will, you know, there's no stupid questions here. So please feel free to, feel free. Yeah. Hey, Mirko, welcome. And yeah, so why don't we bring Igor in? I'll get him in here on the stream, and we'll start chatting. So, hello, Igor. Welcome. And why don't you tell everybody maybe just a touch about yourself, what you do, and where you're from, too, where you're coming to us from tonight.
Okay, by the way, before I start, by the way, guys, test, is everything working? Everyone hear me?
I think everything looks, learning Houdini never stops. Good. Yeah, everything sounds good on our end. I see the microphone. It looks like everything's looking good. So, yeah. So why don't you go ahead and tell us maybe just a touch about yourself, just what you've been doing in Houdini and some of those things.
I'll do my best. So before I start, I just want to say that heart came from Revo. He's my colleague from GSG, Great Hergodeva. So thank you. He's looking.
Fantastic. Welcome.
He's kind of want to go into Houdini, but not sure. You know, he's a bit afraid. So I hope today we show him a little bit, basically why he shouldn't be afraid. Because, you know, guys, there is a different ways of doing things in Houdini. But before we go into this, maybe a little bit introduction, like you said.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Basically, I'm kind of a unique breed, because before I started QAing, I was like a freelancer, and I was doing modeling pretty much. By the way, I'm looking here because my camera is here, and I'm seeing you here, Peter. So sorry,
Oh, it's
guys.
fine.
A
No
bit
problem.
confusing, but
No problem.
anyway, I started
Oh,
for modeling, and then I left Maxon, joined URender, and then after URender went kaput, I joined like almost a year now to Grayscale Gorilla, and that's pretty much it. Regarding Houdini, well, I started with Houdini, I think 3 times: 2016, 2018, then I believe 2020 or 2021. I forgot, but I'm around 2.5 years in Houdini. And because I like Houdini so much, I wanted to do everything in Houdini and even modeling. Basically, I wanted to see if there is more than that meets the eye, right? And little did I know that after a year and a half of just grinding, I actually believe I managed to find a really, really nice way to do destructive modeling in Houdini. But like for that, unfortunately, because by default Houdini is just not set up for modeling, we need to do certain things, like no Vex, nothing, no coding, no Python, nothing. Just basically took everything that guys from Side Effects developed and just tried to make a logic. Because if you like see guys, like if you watch some presentation from 20
oh, we lost
little
him for a
things that was done
second
for
there.
modeling, but can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I just lost you for a second there. Sorry. I think you're back now. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, for some reason it can break up for a few seconds. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's
But
fine.
anyway, there is a lot of little things that were made through the years, but unfortunately, no one was mentioning those things. So of course, uh, uh, um, we don't know about it. And of course, there is that misconception then that Houdini is just not for modeling, which I hope today I will prove you guys wrong. So yeah. That's
Awesome.
my goal. So today, by the way, the goal is not to teach you how to model. We can leave that for another time. Today, goal is actually show you where I am at this point with the idea of modeling in Houdini, and how workflow and how you can actually have some kind of flow we all need when we're modeling. We don't want to press tab all the time and searching for nodes. No, that's past. So hopefully today you will see what I'm talking about.
Cool. Yeah, I think I think that sounds great. And I think a few things that we've talked about, were kind of how to, you kind of set up a little kind of outline for what we were going to talk about. And we kind of were talking about some of the different steps of like, okay, set your system up this way, and then we're going to talk about a little bit about like how we start doing stuff, and like what some of these tricks that you have that are like workflow related, and then we're going to get into some modeling, right? That's kind of the overall idea of this. So yeah. Oh, another thing I just wanted to mention too, Igor really graciously is with us tonight, even though he's in Croatia. And he's 6 hours ahead of us, and it's quite late there. But he was very gracious to say, "No, I can do it at your normal time," which is fantastic. So thank you very much, sir. That's very, very kind of you.
As a Houdini artist, this is a must.
Of course.
Staying
Well,
late,
Igor, yeah. Why don't I pass it over to you, to your screen, and you can start kind of walking us through some of these ideas and things like that you've kind of come up with. So I'll pass it over to you now.
So by the way, guys, it might be like information could be scattered, because the biggest issue I have right now is how all this information that I have on paper in my head basically lay down for you that you understand. So I actually started this, but before I show you what I have, basically this is what I did. Now, please mind rendering. Rendering is not my thing. I'm working on this, but this was pretty much 90% of stuff done while there was like a Houdini 20 alpha and beta phase. So these are just recent models. There are more, but the reason why I'm showing you this is so you guys can see that you can do plenty. You really can do a lot of things in Houdini, of course, if you know the approach. So what I did, hopefully now you guys be able to say, you guys from Side Effects, that modeling a car is possible in Houdini, like you can see here. So this is all Houdini, and this is Grayscale Gorilla materials. And now down here, what I made for you guys is on top of pretty much preparing the complete environment for you, which I will show how to install today. It's just like 2 minutes of work. And then basically everything that well, I done is here regarding modeling, right? So I had to do some shortcuts. I had to make sure that radial menus are basically as I need them for modeling. And then there are some other things that I use, but right now it's not going to be interesting for you because first I actually need to show you how all of this works. And basically this is my latest work which I'm working on, and I think statement that modeling can be possible in Houdini. That's no more issue. I just need to show you how it's done. Okay, so let's try to do this. So I was thinking, and Peter also, like what could we do for this, and like, is there something I should model? And actually, I will show you some things, but I think I would actually rather focus on the flow, try to make some like making things a bit more faster, just so you see how I work when I'm in some kind of focus or flow. Hopefully, Houdini will not make issues like it tends to do when you're streaming, right, Peter?
Yeah, I've never run into that before, ever.
Yeah, but let's see. So before I start, I just want to show you how can you install quickly this environment in case you want to try it today. So basically, you would just download this file. Okay. Let me just download quickly. I will just put it on my desktop. Oops. This. And let me unzip. I can move this. By the way, I will share a link, guys, later. Or Peter,
Yeah,
you can
for sure
do the same.
We'll make,
So
yeah,
now
I'll make sure to
basically-
share that with where everything else is. That we usually share the files and things like that. So I'll make sure that that's all shared.
Okay. Okay. So let's go to documents. By the way, I will do this for Houdini 19. What I did, I just deleted my old document file and just once started Houdini so that it generates this document. And let's go inside. And from here, only thing that I will copy and paste is these two. So just copy, just replace, and now we can just start Houdini. And let's wait a bit. So from here, we just need to load layout and hotkeys, and then we are basically just good to go.
Now, this would all work in 20 as well. Is that's
yes,
correct,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
That's why I'm showing here. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, gotcha. Cool.
So from here, let's go to layout. So desktop manager. We need to add new desktop. Let's rename it as you wish, but in my case, I will do PolyMarvels. Then I will load from. Let's find this file. And this file, polymarvels.desk. This is what we need. Once this is done, we can just, not add, we can just apply changes and then accept. And then from here, let's switch to PolyMarvels. And before we are done, we need to make sure that we set modeling as our radial menu. And then let's pin, and then again here, save current desktop. This is how you're making sure that this modeling radial menu is always coming with this layout. So when you're changing layouts, okay, this is pinned, so not pinned. Basically, sorry. this is why we have. This is why I saved this current desktop again. So after that, the last step pretty much is hotkeys, which is a great thing. You can have as many presets as you like. So if you're doing animation, you can have preset for animation. So let's import. In this case, of course, we are doing modeling. So things will be set for modeling, accept, okay, and then switch. It's loaded, accept, and that's it. Now, if you want to go back to your old shortcut, just switch, and that's it. That's why this is great. Like, even if you are going to try, there's basically nothing you can screw up. It's very easy, and that's basically it. Other few other things that I do is just because I like it like that. I always set my PolyMarvels to be my startup desktop. Usually, Playbar UI is set at compact. This really depends on your resolution of your monitor. One important thing are models, and then this setting here. So map drag to axis, which basically allows us, if I apply, we can basically grab handles outside of basically, we don't have to grab handles by the handle. We can use middle mouse button to actually move them like this, which is far more convenient, far more useful. And then this also could be enabled because it will give you this, you see, this planar, I don't know how to call this.
Yeah, it's like a
gizmo,
handle.
so that you can,
yeah, gizmo.
Yeah, it just gives you another handle that you can actually easy
Yeah.
move your object.
Yeah, I
Then
think
just
already these are like amazing little workflow tips, I think, which is just amazing. Like in the few, like, yeah, exactly, Tom. I'm in the same boat. Tom is a real is a very, like, he does all this Python stuff and Apex and all this craziness, and like I really respect Tom's knowledge, and like this is wild stuff. Like there are so many little things in just our conversation that we had a couple days ago that I was like I can't believe all these little things. So I just love it for that alone. This is amazing. And I'm really excited for you to kind of talk about the different like ways that these tools are kind of now grouped because you've changed your hotkeys and your radial menu and stuff and the way. So I'll let you keep going at it, but I love that. I think it's so fun. Anyways.
That's yeah. If you guys if you're not modelers and not into modeling per se, there's definitely some things that you might learn today. That's for sure. At least some tricks. I'm sure of that. So your time will not go in vain. But basically, now we are set and ready, and that's it. That's all you need to do to start modeling as I am. So I'll just close this iteration of Houdini and open my own, which has basically is the same, but it's just prepared for you guys so that you can actually see what I'm doing. Usually my UI is a little bit smaller, but hopefully you guys with the smaller screens, you can actually see what I'm doing. Cool. Now, immediately you can see when you open this UI that, you know, it's just a normal software. There is nothing scary. At least in my eyes, I don't see anything scary. So, and now when we are talking about modeling, it's tricky because I think every modeler has its own ways, and we usually do things differently, right? Especially if you are more experienced. So, and one reason why I really like Houdini is it really gives you that flexibility and the tools you can use, and you see there are many tools. It's how you can mix them and just, I call this like abuse them to do things that you might not initially think of that they can actually do. But one of my favorite techniques is working with booleans. I think it's better than any other software. So I'm not going to model anything particular. I just go with the flow and show you the workflow and how I do things. So let's just do something with boolean. Okay, so let's add a box, and let's try to make a hole in this box. Okay, just make a hole in this box. Now there is a lot of little things that I will do that you're not going to notice, But yeah, again, I'm not teaching you per se, right? I'm just showing you. So let's enable creating context. Again, I have a lot of shortcuts. And let's add a sphere on which I can actually, well, you can see what I can do. I can change settings, blah, blah, blah. And actually, I want to add a cap. And now I actually want to subtract this. Oops, not subdivide. So again, boom, I have a hole here. Now I can continue doing bevel, or I can do something else. Let's try to do something less. Now I can extract this, but now I need a different mode. So this time I need to make sure that creating context is disabled. So these are little things that you need to know to really be able to grasp everything. So I can just extract. Let me see, like this. Okay, what's happening? Okay, let's see. And there we go. Okay, that's it. It's disabled, and now extract. Cool. It doesn't work for some reason, but I can use this. So I don't know. This is okay. This is the first time it didn't work. Okay, cool. But what I did here, I basically extracted that part of the model, and now I can solo it and just continue working here. I don't know. Maybe I can fill here, or maybe even here. Now, I'm not particularly thinking about, how this should be set up, because again, this is now direct modeling, destructive modeling, even though things definitely stay procedural, but my way of thinking is not procedural in this manner. Okay, I'm just trying to create something.
Igor, one thing I think would be really cool just to mention real quick here would be the creating context menu. You have it bound to your key there, the 3 key, I think, but that's up. Yep, right there, up in the top. Yeah, show everybody where that is, and we'll. Yep. And so basically that's just creating these new things either at an object level or in the context of where we are in the network right now. So that's why you're seeing him switch those things back and forth. So he has a little hotkey for that and some things like that. So those are some of those little workflow things that he's kind of doing where he can just switch back and forth really quickly and kind of be in that flow. So
yeah, in the end, these shortcuts really is what allows you to be in some kind of flow.
Yeah, exactly.
That really is. And then on top of that, we have radial menus. And then on top of that, we have shelf.
Right.
But what's really great about this is that you can't really forget about all of these because they are basically there for you. So you don't have to remember every single tool or so.
Right.
That's
yeah, you don't have to memorize a list of nodes or anything like that. It's just you have a radial menu that's kind of set up in a reasonable way, and you've got kind of your tools there for modeling just ready at your fingertips. So yeah.
Yeah. Actually, let me show you how would I do something like this. Now, this is all quotes, guys. Now, this is all quotes. I can open that model later. But let me show you how I did this. That's a bit more organic, right? It's not hard surface. And like it's really easy. So let me do this. Let's go inside. Let's make this sphere like that. I can cut. Now another super nice thing is that these handles has a lot. They have a lot of to offer. So I don't have to do this manually. I can actually use my shortcuts and just change where I want to cut, right? So this I want to from here, and then I can subdivide once more, and actually let me go back to first node. Now I'm using my mouse to jump over these nodes. Okay, I have actually page up and page down. With those two on your keyboard, you can go up and down through your network with your mouse. So if your mouse is looking like this, it doesn't have to be this mouse, but in my case, these two are page up and page down, with which I can go up and down through the stream. And then this horizontal scroll is basically where I can jump to first node or to the last node. So if I'm scrolling if I'm scrolling, you can see that I'm jumping to first and then last node. Now, maybe it's not that visible, but if you had like 20 nodes, jumping to first one and then last one really, really matters.
Right. Yeah, that's a
So,
great little tip there. I love that.
yeah, and this, you see, this is procedural. I'm working procedurally. So next thing I want to do, again, making sure I have my creating context enabled. Oops. Something like this maybe. And let me actually do Boolean right away. So I can go to that box like this. So one more thing. So when we have setup like this, I can actually use page up. And if I'm on this node, pressing shift and page down will jump to this box. So I can rotate pretty easily between these three. So which allows me to come to this box without ever going to the node network. Selecting this, and then just bevel. And do something like this maybe. Actually, let me try maybe something like this too. Let's create a car live.
Cool.
It's not going to be the best car you have seen in your life, but yeah, let's see. So now quad remesher, which I hope side effects has really intentions to make it really, really good, because I'm actually using Exodus remesher. That's the only plugin I'm using, just because I know that side effects is developing their own remesher. So I hope it will be better or same.
Yeah.
Because with this thing, we can actually, now because I have it on my shortcut, we can actually pretty fast get some kind of decent geometry on which can actually we work on, right? Create something interesting. Maybe add a bit more details. A bit more. You know what? I'll actually remove this. I think this is going to be better. So next thing I'm going to do, make sure that this is symmetrical so that we get even better mesh. So from here, let's make some kind of hole. Let's see. I want to make sure that this is also frozen so I don't get screwed. So here I can grow my selection, delete. And now I will actually, you know what? No. First I will subdivide once more to get better mesh. And you will see why, guys, soon. So let me see. From the top, where is my middle? Is this the middle? Yeah, so let's grow. I just delete. Okay. That's cool. And now what I can do, let's say I want to separate the mesh. So what we can actually do here, something like this. Now the cool part is if we group this, and then if we symmetrize, and if we enable our, well, this thing, how is it called? Display group, which is actually triggered by the selection tool. So you can trigger it from here. I, of course, have my shortcut, but you can also trigger this from here. And instead of selecting, I actually managed to make like a symmetrical selection. Unfortunately, it doesn't work 100%, but this will do. So if I select this and then this, I can actually do bevel. And now with bevel, I can say none and then do something like this. And now I can just, to make things a bit more complicated, maybe I can just add and see like what will work for this particular model. I don't know. I don't like this. Let's make, I don't know, maybe one more here. Like this. Yeah, let's say that's good. So now what I would do, I can actually call my lab sticken. Now, The one issue that Houdini have is really consistency. Like all these SOPs kind of suffer from not being consistent with with each other. What I mean is, for example, if I extrude here, let me just do extrude. I'm using like left mouse button to change the distance from the viewport, right? But if I'm like using like lab sticken, okay, I need to have things selected. So if I'm using lab sticken, I'm using middle mouse button to do this. And this should be set on both directions because this is thickness. This is not extrusion, it's just thickness. Yeah. And here I can also use shift. So these little things, if side effects would just make everything consistent, correct axis positions, etc., things like these, things would be much better for sure. And less confusing.
Yeah, those are obviously great suggestions, and obviously that the labs thicken is kind of one of our labs tools, right? So that is a little bit of a different intent as far as the development of those things, but I think certainly RFEs. I see Jeff Wagner's in the comments, so that's fun. And submit RFEs. That's if you have suggestions for how things should work, always submit an RFE. I mirror Jeff's comments.
Yeah, with modeling suggestions, it's really someone needs to sit and look a bigger picture. Otherwise, you just, how would I say, like, I don't know. You just need to look a bigger picture and make everything works. I don't know, how would I say. Just make things consistent. And for the start, you don't have to do anything crazy. Just make these tools that are very important just consistent. I shouldn't be forced. For example, here is one good example where you have a curve tool. So if you want handle for curve tool, you need to press K. But for example, in skeleton SOP, if you want the same thing, you need to press other letter.
Yeah, like H or something.
That should not be the case. Things like
and that. I know that we have I know that that's been something that has been certainly a topic of conversation, is more consistency, better naming, better all of that kind of stuff over time. And so I mean those are great, I think great suggestions to kind of for us to think, for the team to think about. But cool.
Okay, so go ahead.
No, keep going. Love it.
Okay, I want to show my favorite technique with Ray SOP.
Yeah.
And it's a bit more difficult, so I'm not gonna work on a flat surface, not on a flat surface, but on a plane surface. So I want to have thickness because I actually want to make a hole here.
Okay.
That will actually look good. So what I need to do here, let me just make sure I grab both sides like this. Okay. And now I can press T. No, it's not gonna look perfect. Actually, maybe I should do before that. Maybe I'll just subdivide again like this. Just that I have more polygons to work with. So let me do something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Also, I need a different side. Or other side. And now I can press T and then Shift C, and then I get something like this. Now this looks perfect, but it's not really that perfect. So, and maybe this is not the best example, but let's just do it. So now, if I activate Ray, and actually let's make this harder. So if you do this and maybe do something like this. Okay, let's just make it a bit harder. So now if I activate my ray, so here is the trick. What I really like is that you can actually reuse every single step we are doing. Okay, so you can go back as much as you want. In this case, my ray is still activated, no matter I'm going up and down. So what I want to do, I want to project everything on the past mesh. So what I can do, go up with my page up, and now because I know that below here I'm working with the correct mesh, the mesh I need, I will just double click, shift, right mouse button, and boom, I managed to connect subdivide with ray. And now I can actually project rays either through minimal distance, which is something I don't want, but I'll actually use project rays with vectors. And then from here, let's say this is on X, so I need to project a minus, yeah. And then just because this is a little bit more complicated, I just need to move and just try to see like what would be the best position. And let's see, that will be it. Now, unfortunately, it seems these two are connected together, which is what I don't want, but it doesn't matter. So I can go to my polygon component mode and then just delete. Now, usually, I don't know why this is like this. I mean, I know I would have to do things a little bit different. Now also selecting, you see, like I'm selecting from like different angles, clicking on different edges, and I'm getting different selection. So this is also something to like be aware of. So you see, I can actually get something like this. But the cool thing is, if I just want to bring this a little bit back, problem right now I have is I can't be that precise, but what I can actually do, if I go up, let's say before here, I can actually use my construction plane, which will aim depending on the normal on your polygon. And then I can use that direction with my edit SOP. And as you can see here, now I can perfectly just move that axis well from this normal here, basically, which gives me good results. It's not perfect, but yeah, I'm trying to be fast. And then
Sure,
here
sure.
I can just bridge things. Okay, this didn't work, but this did. And then I can just add maybe a few divisions here. So when I'm actually using subdivision, well, I don't know how would I call this, but if you guys using Maya, you have with Alt 1 and 2, I believe, like non-subdivision mode and subdivision mode, where you can actually see your model subdivided. Well, we have the same in Houdini, but it's not that good. You cannot actually see these subdivide curves or nerves. I don't know how they are called. So we can only see things like this. Now, this is problem with normal. So if I just select everything and use my normal, yeah, this is what I get. Maybe even like this. Yeah. Again, not perfect. Things can be better, but yeah.
Yeah, it's quick. It
like
was,
I
it was
would
a quick
usually
demonstration. Yeah, that's still very impressive to be able to have the tools kind of right at your fingertips to be able to kind of do those things in like a a quick and effective kind of flow, right? That's what you were talking to me about, was really, this is about staying in that flow, keeping those kind of commands easily at your fingertips. Some are hotkeys, some are radial menus, and shelf tool. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit about the logic behind how you split those things up? Because I think you mentioned that you show that a little bit in the document, but maybe just talking a little bit about just your, because I remember you said, oh, I have these on my radial menu and these are key commands, and that's why I put them there. So maybe explain that a little bit.
Well, idea basically is just to make things a bit more easier. Kind of, these are like primary tools are on your keyboard shortcuts. So these are tools that I personally use the most when I'm modeling. as you can see here. So Peter, if you want to share the link, you can. Then we have radial menus, which is something that I use occasionally. And then we have shelf, which we go if there is really something unique or particular that we need, and we don't have it here. But as you can see, guys, this is like plethora of soaps that you can use with modeling, and in the end, you can achieve results like these. So, yeah, the really one thing that people really need to understand is how actually, or one of the important things is how actually this works, or what's the logic behind these objects levels and geometry levels.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if anyone working in Cinema or Maya.
I'm
Because
sure
if you,
there's yeah, I'm sure there's some I get quite a few people from cinema kind of. That's like one of the probably more common people that are in the chat or in the stream. So that's probably the primary, but certainly my users would probably be watching this as well commonly. So
actually, when it comes to Houdini, it's really about your end goal. One of the reasons why I asked Peter, like, hey Peter, would you be kind to actually rig this little robot and like basically make it alive, because I wanted to see if there is anything on my side that I can improve so that I make life easier for someone else that might work on the model. And in essence, if I understood correctly, at the end, when you're going to do Kine effects, your complete mesh geometry has to be like in one, combined.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's yeah, when you're going into the deformation step, right? Yeah, you bring your whole model in there. Now, I'm sure there's situations where you might do that differently possibly. But for the most part, yeah, you're bringing all these named components all in and using your skeleton to them deform all of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically knowing that gives you all the freedom you want. So if I open, for example, let me show this model that I did. So if you open this, you will see a lot of geometry containers, and of course there is a reason why. And also, if you ever worked in Cinema or Maya, you can exactly bring that mentality of modeling into Houdini. You just need to know how these nodes are behaving, what they are. So basically, if I go to stage, let me show you this. There is a lot of pieces here, so it takes a little bit more time to load. So give me a sec. So let me just do this. No lighting, anything. So basically, what I have here, my racing pod, because it's in subnetwork, Houdini sees that as a null object. So if I would now export this object with FBX to Cinema, I would exactly know how my hierarchy would look like, and it would be exactly this. So this subnetwork, which is, I believe, this node, correct? I put it in another crap. But okay, you will see now what will happen if Houdini don't crash. It shouldn't.
Never done that
Mistake.
before where I click something and then think, oh, maybe I shouldn't have clicked.
Yeah, I didn't see that I have this selected.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We'll give it a second to do its thing. There we go.
I think these are curves that I need to disable.
Yes. Yes.
But let me see, where is it?
It's
Yeah,
inside,
okay, it's
subnet
here.
one. Yep.
So I have a null inside of a null. So basically parent, and then children.
Mm-hmm.
And here I also have, so if I go back, okay, I need to unpin this. And if I go inside, again go inside. Then I have this, but this kind of sucks. This is really not. How would I say? Help me, Peter. Like I cannot see clearly what here
clean.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I am using is Shift T, which is your pretty much list view. Okay. And here, not only that you can select things, okay, you can actually see what's selected, but you can also use all the flags. So for example, I can just select this part and then just remove it, okay? And this is a very easy way to see like what did you hide in your viewport, and it's very easy to bring it back. And so here is another trick that you probably did not know. If you ever have situation like this and you wanna rename everything, for example, in this case, I wanna rename this to a part, but in this case, it will be part 1, part 2, part 3, blah, 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 blah. So instead of going one by one, what I can do is next and say part 01 and boom, renamed.
And what we you and I were talking about this the other day, and we actually figured out that if you select the bottom one and then the top one and double click on that one, then that first one would be part 1 and it would go down the list that way as well. So either way, it'll kind of do it. It'll do it from top to bottom. But
there is some kind of logic.
Yeah, there's a logic there. But yeah, you select the bottom one, then the top if you want them to all be perfectly named. But still, those are all, I mean, that's a huge time saver. That's fantastic.
For sure. Okay, now that you're talking about tricks, let me show you another trick. So again, this is what I'm using all the time, this menu. And also there is also another nice shortcut that you can use. It's here, and you can use this maximize verticality.
Oh yeah.
Which basically gives you like pretty much better overview of whatever you are doing on that side. Very handy. I have it on of course on Control Shift and Q, because I can also undock, or how would I say? This is not undocking, or it is. How do you call this when this happens?
I think it's like, when it goes back. It's like I don't know that. I'm not sure if I have like a term that I know for that. It's like stowing it. It's like stowing it away almost.
Yes, you guys call this stowing. So there is another shortcut that you can use for stowing these.
Oh yeah, everything, so right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you can use another shortcut to do this.
Yes,
so
that one
pretty clean.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it's a little scary to me because I'm like, where's all my buttons? Where'd all my buttons go? I like my buttons, but it's really clean. It's like really nice, and like you just have everything. It's just like the UI elements then.
Yeah, that's very nice when you go and render and you're trying to set lights, which I will also show you guys. But now that we are talking about tricks, here are a few more. So for example, if you have drop-down menu like this, instead of just hovering with your mouse, you can actually use your scroll button. And then instead of going to this and clicking, you can actually press middle mouse button to confirm. So this works with any drop-down menu. Okay.
Real quick, what is the key to hide the buttons? Oh, sorry. I think I had your image up there, and I will hide that again. But what was the button to?
So you can set it up on your own.
Yeah,
just
toggle
press
stow
Shift
bars.
Control Alt. So Shift Control Alt left mouse button. Wait, and you get Hotkey Manager, and then you can just set up your own. But in my case, if you want to use my environment, it's F1.
F1, yeah. Okay, gotcha. And then I think it might be the back tick normally. I don't remember actually what it is by default, but anyways, continue.
Okay, another trick that I like, for example, when I'm saving my renders, it's like here. Man, I need to have a render. Okay, I'll show with some kind of file. Okay, let's say I usually have something like this, and then instead of writing 40, I would just use middle mouse scroll and just change the last number in your string with the middle mouse scroll. Okay, so usually I would just 40. accept save very quickly. Another
cool.
thing you probably did not know with these menus is that you can actually hover over and start typing. Let's see, like backup. You can see here it started to write, right? So
Yeah.
backup. You can press enter and you're inside. Very cool. Yeah. Now, did you guys know? Did you guys knew that you can actually set display flag on your node, on your SOPs from the viewport? Does anyone has idea how?
I have a feeling not. I did not know that. Maybe Jeff. I'm sure Jeff Wagner knows, but that might be the only person the only person in
Let's
chat that
see.
might know
Okay,
that.
let's see, because this one is kind of interesting. I'll make a new scene.
Okay.
I'll just make a new scene. So I made a new scene, and let me just do, I don't know, a few things with this. By the way, radial menu, let me just explain this. So what I got with this radial menu is like really going through networks and levels really fast. That thing alone changed so many things for me. So one thing that actually was kind of a lucky accident, for example, when you usually call your cubes, let me go inside like this. When you summon your cubes or your primitives, usually they are not invoked. Okay, so they are not invoked if you're going inside of the geometry node with your numbers with 2, 3, or 4. So you can actually jump into the geometry container with your numbers, but you need to, every time you need to press enter when you want to work on this node. So what radial menu allows is that you actually create a box, and then you would go down. I don't know why is it now throwing me inside automatically. I don't understand. You see, it just brings me inside.
It's going into the geometry Is that because it's set in context instead of at object level?
Probably. Let's see. Funny. That shouldn't do that. Let me just try again. Lol. Okay. You will have to trust me on this. I showed you this yesterday.
Yeah, you did. You showed me that. He showed me this the other day. He's not. I think it might be that because it looks like you're still in context and not at object level up there in your top bar. It looks like up in your setting, whatever your 3 is, your 3 shortcut.
My 3 shortcut.
I think it's like you have. I think you do. Oh gosh, it's the button right next to the question mark up above your viewport. Yeah, it's like the little 3 little objects there. I think it's that button.
I think it was this thing, creating context, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, the creating context, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So if I disable creating context, and now if I create a box, if I press 4, this is what I get, okay? But if I'm using my radial menu and go down with this thing, it's invoked. And that level down is basically what you see here with your N shortcut. So I just copied this inside of this instead of the default, which I actually never used in 2 years. So I just figured, okay, I'll put this on V because I'm using it all the time. Yeah.
Right, because there's a couple different radial menus, right? There's C and V
so we have,
and X, right?
Yeah, so we have a texture radial menu. We have modeling radial menu, which is C. I have something called multi-tools, which I have my Pyro VDB, SkinFX, basically all the nodes, for example, in Pyro that will allow me to quickly set up a small simulation with radial menu. I can show you that too, because it's not only, this doesn't work only with modeling, it actually works with other things. So cool. It's kind of neat.
All right. Anyways, I'll let you get back to that part. Yeah.
So I was actually speaking about how we can display flag, set display flag from the viewport. And actually, I just need to do like few things, just so, oops, just so I can go back and forth. Okay, so if, let's say, if I go to this poly extrude, what I need to do, I need to make sure that my creating context is enabled, and then making sure that at least one of these primitives are selected, but primitive needs to be from the SOP that is actually, how would I say this? So it
It's
needs
like
to
kind of
be,
ghosted. Yeah, it's like ghosted on top there. You can see it's like it's selected and kind
yeah,
of, yeah, it's like ghosting there. Yeah.
basically it needs to I don't know, but anyway, so if I'm on this node and I have at least one component selected, now if I press, if I try to extract things, I will set this flag. I will not extract anything because creating context is enabled, so we are not extracting. If we are have creating context disabled, then we are extracting to another geocontainer. But in this case, we actually set in flag on anything that's selected in the node network. So
That's
if
an
I go
interesting one.
down, I just need to, actually, in this case, I think I didn't even have to select anything because we have like a cook selection already there. So pressing, in my case, Control E, which is extract, will actually set display flag on the node which is selected in the node network. Kind
Wow.
of
Yeah,
neat.
that's a neat little trick, especially like turning that the context menu on and off to be able to allow for that is interesting. Like no, and it's also like I think a lot of this stuff is starting to realize, like, keep track of maybe where you are in these networks, and it's kind of creating a different kind of awareness to think about like where you are when you're in this modeling
Yeah.
environment. But I think a thing too to mention, Igor, as you're doing this, like you're not really paying any attention to what's in your network. Like you're not dealing with that right now. You're just doing these things and your decisions are going in your network, right?
Yes. That's the thing, if I, for example, compare the logic, this is how I see Houdini mesh. So in Cinema, you have your null object, and then you have your primitives, your object, which are editable, right? They're not primitives, they're editable, they're meshes. And the difference is, in case of Houdini, if I compare with Cinema, this would be your object. Actually, I can show you, I can demonstrate. This would be your object, but if you go inside, you basically see the guts. You see everything you did. This is something you don't see anywhere else. So basically, you can always go back in your history and reuse, see what you did. I mean, you will see, guys, when I share my models with you, how epic it is that you can actually see every single step that I did to come to the results. And usually, because I'm extracting things, I'm not having everything in under one geometry container, because it would be much harder to keep it optimized. It would be much harder to follow things. There are plenty of things why I wouldn't do that anymore. This is like a drastic change from what I did before. Before, I would tend to uh, uh, um, put everything into one geo container right away from the get-go. Like this, I can just make small extractions, make like a smaller edits, and I would always have like a smaller node network. That gives me a lot of control. Even when I'm coming back after a week, I'm not confused what I did here,
Right.
what I did there,
Yeah,
because
that's a great
everything
point.
is much more smaller and it's very easy to digest.
Yeah, a lot of times your biggest enemy when you're doing these kind of things is like yourself from, a month ago or whatever, when you're like, shoot, I came back to this like weeks later, and what did I do this for, and why is this here? And then you're like trying to relearn, like re-go through the things in your brain that you've done. And yeah, it's really helpful to kind of make it in more bite-sized things. And I think, like you were saying, that helps not only with optimization and making sure that things are like better controllable, but also like, when you handed it off to me, there was very little that I even needed to come back to you and mention. I think there was one thing at one point that I said, oh, this was a little weird, but like that was it. Like there was nothing really that needed to happen there because it was all logical what you did. There was nothing for me to try to figure out. Like I saw what you
But
did and it was good.
but usually, Peter, you wouldn't do that step. I would do that for you. That's why I ask what I can do for you to
Sure.
make things easier. I would prepare everything, so you wouldn't have to do anything. But I just needed to know. So a lot of freedom, really a lot of freedom, and actually I can show you how very little. Look,
Here, I'll get
how
myself out of
very
the way
little
here.
there is, you know. And also you can jump from one network with this here. So if you enable this, this is on my Shift V, I can actually jump and then easy solo. This is another reason why you should um, keep things like this and working with more geonodes, because there is a
Yeah.
space bar and Y on your keyboard, and it's very easy to solo out anything you're working on. Okay.
So
So
so that workflow is just by checking that one little thing, you're able to do double click to get into these different geometry containers, and then
yeah,
solo it by what do you have that set up to? Just there's a hotkey for that.
it's default. It's spacebar Y.
Spacebar Y. Okay.
Yes. So and
I think
that's
these are a lot of
basically
things.
this.
Okay, yeah, it's that
So
that. Is it just toggle between those? Is that what it does? Like it just kind of like
yes,
loops through those? Yeah. Okay.
yes, yes, yes,
And I think
exactly.
these are a lot of things that um that affects, like, a lot of people come to Houdini for effects, right? And I think these are a lot of things that effects artists maybe wouldn't be thinking about, right? Like, oh, how do I go in and solo this little different piece of geometry? I mean, sometimes you're doing that kind of stuff, but usually you're like dealing with these a little bit maybe larger concepts and watching technical things and sims and all these different things. But when you're doing these types of artistic, workflows, these are really the things that are kind of are key, right? These are key things to be able to go in and jump between all these different pieces that you're dealing with. So I love it. I think it's a great way of working. It's really good.
And actually, to prove you this logic that it actually works, so when I have things like this,
Mm-hmm.
I can actually go here, set up operator type. Let's see. This is under backfire thrower racing pod. Okay, this is a little bit tricky. Let me see. Okay, I just need to go level up or here, backfire. So where is it? Here. So now I can actually use. So this is actually, I think, a bit buggy. Sometimes you just can't select things properly. So
Mm-hmm.
this needs work. But if I'm able to actually, so I can move pivot here. Again, I have also this on my shortcut. I can like move pivot very quickly. I can even use start orient and move the pivot with start orient tool. Again, it looks for the normal. So I can actually even use my, this is something I didn't talk about, but for example, uh, your construction plane. Okay, so if I remove
Mm-hmm.
my grid and call my construction plane, you can actually do a lot with construction plane, and it has its own set of, well, a lot of things that you can actually do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so most, like for the things I'm using it, let's say if I want to do like a curve polygon, I can easily know like where my curves will position if I would just like use my, let's see. So if I enable this thing again, curve tool, now curve tool will,
See that plane, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
And then let's say I need sweep. Boom. That's it.
I think
And then I need
honestly that
this to be
construction
pure.
plane is like a really underutilized part
Oh yes.
of Houdini for
Oh, for
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. There is no doubt.
Yeah.
I'm using it all the time, like all the time.
I can imagine, especially with like some of those things I didn't even really like. I mean, again, because I'm not a modeler, I didn't come at some of these things like, oh, how do I orient my pivot to this geometry? Like I just maybe intuitively don't think of it that way as like something that I would want to do. But I think with modeling, that is something you're going to do all the time, where you're moving things around and using different orientations to make things in the position that you want them to be. It's really cool to see, because it's something I personally haven't used a lot of, and I think they're great tips.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot remember right now something very cool that I could do with it, but like I'm using it all the time.
Yeah.
Because you can also move your axis, so you can move your pivot depending where your construction plane is. So you can even move, like you can constrain your movement of your construction plane with shift. So you go into the depth with shift, and with control you go left, right, and down. This could be actually useful, let's say, for something like this, because if you're using construction plane, your primitives will actually look at construction plane.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, so if I have my construction plane enabled, and let's say I want to spawn my model or my primitive here, because your primitives will look at your construction plane and then spawn at the center of construction plane, actually. So something like this. Cool. And then again, I can quickly use booleans, go up. Maybe I can actually duplicate this, and then use my symmetrize to do that. And then end to again select everything, go down, and boom.
Yeah.
Easy.
It's quick, it's efficient, it's great. Yeah, that's great. I don't think I even realized that was the functionality of some of like how those nodes would get created if you jumped back up, and the way that you're doing some of those things. Like I mean, the network is a little messy there for a second, but like you can easily rearrange that once you've done all the commands that you want to do. But yeah,
this is something that can be improved by side effects.
Sure, of course.
This is nothing.
Yeah.
No, there's just a little bug, and it should really always be this. Whenever you call something, it should be this, like this.
Yeah. Oh, there was a question here. Jeff Wagner actually was asking if you ever use construction plane memories. Like there's like a memory system, I guess, for it. He says he finds them handy, and you can create named construction planes as you go. Have you ever done that at all?
No, actually, okay. I did not.
There you go.
I'm not sure if I'm even familiar with that.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, Jeff's been doing this a little longer than any of us have been, so he's got some of the inside knowledge here. So
imagine Jeff and I talking about this and how we can actually improve this.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I mean, hey, maybe he'll get in touch with you. That certainly could be a cool conversation. I mean, it's always good, and it's always good to have more feedback on it from all sorts of different places, because we get a ton of feedback from the effects community and things like that. And the more feedback, Jeff's saying he'll get a video made up on how some of the construction plane stuff works. He'll get a little video on that. Cool, nice.
Good.
But yeah, no, the more feedback we can get from the community that's making, that's using modeling and doing that stuff, the better that those tools can improve as well. Just the effects community is very loud in the Houdini world, obviously. So yeah, the louder the modeling community can be, the more feedback we can get and all that kind of stuff. So it's cool. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yep, definitely agree. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I wish I can show more. It's a bit hard like this. But I do plan to make tutorials. Of course, if people are interested interested. I mean,
I'll
I don't
say
know what to
this. I'll
say.
say this, Igor. Like, I mean, as far as like the number of people that are watching the stream, we've got about 20 people watching the stream right now, which is fairly high for how many usually watch it. I mean, usually we've got like a dozen or between a dozen and 20. And there's been, so I mean, certainly people are interested in this. There's a lot of feedback and stuff like that. So I think that's a great point to make in all of this, is that you're looking to make tutorials and continue to kind of help develop these things and like help people get yeah, a little fire emoji there. A lot of people are, I think, are excited about some of these workflows. So it's
Like,
definitely
I
something
just
to
want
keep
to
in
give
mind.
everyone like, look, I just wanted to give everyone like food for thought. If you guys want to try, go ahead. It's everything is prepared for you. I would actually like if like one of two actually try this, so that we can see if this is actually feasible. Because honestly, I could be a bit biased, and I definitely lost like a sense of like being a beginner. So actually seeing someone installing this, trying step by step, slow and easy, because I think that the most important thing that people need to learn when like direct modeling comes to question, even though I call this hybrid modeling, everything stays procedural pretty much, almost. Um, like I would really like to see someone trying, at least trying, and see how it goes. So if anyone is there who is willing to try, we can
Yeah.
do one-on-one, no problem. I can go step by step with you, or even better, Peter. Why not? If not today, maybe next time, you will be my
Oh, I could
Padawan,
be the guinea pig. Oh, geez.
and we do,
Oh,
and just to see how it will go. I think it would be perfect
yeah.
opportunity, because you're so long working in Houdini, and even though you're not beginner, it would be cool to see how you actually
Oh, there's a ton of stuff
getting
here that I
along.
definitely do not know, believe me. And and I've never truly been a modeler at all. And so, um, lots of people are saying, yeah, we'd be down for it. Love to try it out and stuff like that. So, Igor, what would be, what would be the best way, what would be the best way to kind of continue that conversation after this stream is done? Would you like people to reach, where would people be able to reach out to you and talk to you about this?
Well, for a longer period of time, I had an idea of creating community where
Mm-hmm.
like only Houdini modelers would come,
Yeah.
and basically because I have a whole different idea for the community, uh, because I already have like a lot of experience with leading communities, as I was managing one of the biggest communities for C4D until I left. So that kind of forum that I already know, you can definitely offer a lot. So I would do something like that, because there
Yeah.
people can download
Sure.
stuff for free, not paid,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Because I don't want to use Patreon because of the tax and laws and stuff. I don't want to deal with that.
Sure. Sure.
So providing
Um,
a platform like that would be,
would people be able to reach out to you through my Discord for right now and be able to
of
talk to you
course.
about some of that stuff? Okay, great. That's good to
Yeah.
know.
I also have Discord.
Oh, you have a Discord too.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
great, great.
PolyMarvels.
Okay, cool. I'll get in touch with you after all of this, and we'll kind of coordinate that a little bit more. Um, is there anything, I know I'm kind of looking at the list of things that you've gone through and that type of thing,
Okay.
we kind
Let's
of talked
see.
about. Is there anything else you'd like to show us? I don't want to hold you too long. Anything else that you were thinking of maybe sharing with
Mm,
everyone here tonight?
Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, for example, it's also good to know that like some of the SOPs have different behaviors depending on the level you are. So, for example, mirror. So if you are mirroring, let's say from the object level, you can basically do that with mirror, and then you get this result. Let's see. Here is it should mirror like this here. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, I think I know. Let's see. I think I need it to move it here, and then from here I would mirror. Would I? Again, that worked. Yeah, it's mirroring outside, but it doesn't. It should mirror. But in this case, if we go down and mirror this one, well, we don't get anything. I don't know why. Where is everything? What is happening?
Don't worry, Igor. This happens to me all the time.
There you go.
There you
So
go.
cool thing, I can use shortcuts, right, to just go through these axes very quickly and also reverse. So that's kind of cool to know. What else? Like copy to points can also be used like this. So let's show that. Oops. So let's make this. Wow. What the is this my viewport?
Yeah, it might be
Right
your viewport.
now,
Just
with
reset
me?
it real quick. Yeah, give it a solid reset.
If it crashes,
Huh. That's a weird one.
yes. Let me try this. There are plenty of ways to do things in Houdini, so
Right. That's always the case.
I'm not afraid. Yeah.
There we go.
So let's say I want to copy something. Let's just create spheres. Okay, so we want to copy spheres. Let's see, modify, copy to points. Boom. See, same principles.
Yeah.
So all these subs basically have 1, 2, or 3 steps that you need to do before they are actually invoked. And once you know some of these tools, how they function, it's everything is a breeze,
Yeah.
So there are like certain rules that you need to follow, which is good because they are predictable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to learn. You know what you can expect every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, one thing that you showed me the other day was that path, and then extruding a path along a geometry and then sweeping it. I thought that was really cool because it kind of showed a little bit of that kind of hybrid procedural type setup that is like, it's sort of procedural. Yeah, so I'll let you show that.
So let's say, I mean, not only procedural. I forgot how what's the name of the node that can actually find a path.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it might just be that find shortest path.
It could be, yeah. But let's do this thing manual. Let's stick to destructive.
Yeah.
So let's say I want to make pipes. So in my racing pod, there is one part where, like, for example, if you look in a real jet engine, you will see like a lot of these small pipes interconnecting and stuff. So what I actually did is I would just make a pet like this. I would extrude it with my extrude, of course, and then I would just execute curve from edge, and then I would execute sweep, and boom, I would get this. Now it would be cool if I could. I think you guys broke a lot of these functionality in Houdini 20, where I would usually be able to move most of these from the viewport, but some tools this is not possible anymore.
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, and the cool part is, yeah, this stays procedural. You can go, and change like the level, I guess.
Yeah,
so that
like
you
the
can
distance from the surface. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And in this case, we can actually reuse this mesh. Okay, let's disable creating context. Go. Okay, I have a different shortcut, that's why. So again, let's not solo this time. Let's try something like this maybe. And then again, same step. Maybe something different. Maybe we want like these caps here as a single polygon, and then maybe we can just extrude. The one thing I really like is how can I make, for example, bolts now from this? So I can actually extrude inside, make sure that everything is individual. Let's make sure that these are a bit bigger, even though they don't have to be, like this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to make sure that I don't have sides anymore. So now this is all one, actually separated. So now I can actually do subdivide. I can again select TC, but in this case, for example, let's say we have, actually, no, let's do this. Let's make this bigger. Just imagining that some of these are bigger, and we want to make sure that these are all the same, because this will be
Right.
the same bolt, right?
Got it.
So now, instead of using T Shift C for the circle
Mm-hmm.
from in your edit node, you can actually use edges, and then I believe other circle from edge. And now there is one feature. You can see that this is now different. Everything is different
Mm-hmm.
because of the initial scale of the mesh. But we can actually use radius and make sure that every single bolt is the same.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's a nice, yeah.
That's super cool. And then again, we can just continue, make sure that there is output back, right, to close. Now I want to make sure that this is not like this. This is not bolt. So what I can do, I can actually use my clip, but I just want to cut primitives. So let's see, direction is this one. I can actually use this gizmo, and now I have bolt like this.
Right. Yep.
Now, if I want to make like more details, I can just invert, leave one, and just, I don't know, do something. I don't know. I'm just thinking as I'm going, just
Sure.
trying to make things a little bit more, something like that. And then I can just duplicate. Now I need to make sure that my pivot point is in the center of the thing that I want to help me with this one.
You want to,
so the goal is to duplicate everything from one point. In this case, we need everything to be like around like here, right?
Yeah, it's like needs to be symmetrical, and you want it to all rotate around one central point.
Yes, which needs to be here. So I can actually use Shift 2 to activate my pivot mode. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can either use these snapping modes
mm-hmm.
and do something like this. Okay. Now
right.
I can rotate.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can actually use again start orient picking and then bring it here like this very fast. Or in this case, I can use this thing and then move my handle again. I can move my handle with my shortcuts. In this case, I need project pivot onto C plane. So I would press Shift, Control, and C, and boom. So these are three ways that you can actually position your pivot point and then do your thing. And this is very important when you're doing something outside of the center, and especially if it's like rotated in a weird way. So it's not like aligned X, Z, or Y.
Right.
This is very useful then.
I just love the one thing I really love about that is that a lot of people, you'll always hear people say, "Oh, there's a dozen different ways to do everything in Houdini." I love that with like these modeling tasks, you're like, well, you could do it this way, or you could do it this way, or you could do it this way. I love that that same idea still kind of permeates into some of these direct modeling things where it's like, oh yeah, you've got like 5 different ways to choose how to select something. Some of these, it's funny because that's very Houdini to have a bunch of different ways to do something. So I just like that. It's fun. Very cool.
So just to finish,
awesome.
I'm really not sure why, in this case, let me see. Let me bring this back like this. Okay, this should now work. Or is it? Let me just repeat. Yeah, because I don't want to find what's wrong. It's just easier to repeat. So like this, like that. That should. Oh, that's not a center. Let me just use this then. Okay, this should work now. Yep. Now I would really like to see that side effects implements so that I don't have to actually copy. Where is it? Copy
Oh yeah, copy
parameter, which I also
parameter. Yeah.
have on my as my shortcut, so I can Alt Control C, and then here I believe it's here. I don't need this, so I can just Alt Control V, and then here 360, boom, and this should really be implemented in this SOP by now. But anyway, there it
Yeah.
is. Now the cool part is if I don't froze this, and if I go back, and let me see where is my extrude. Not that one. If I okay, I think I'm not gonna be able to do this. Let me see, like this. This is sweep. Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna be able to show this. But if you're not frozen these merge objects SOPs, you can actually leave things procedurally. So it will follow through, or how would I say?
It would like update
It
based
will
on.
still be connected. It will still
Yeah.
be connected to this other geo node. But in this case, you be careful because you can screw up things. So I usually freeze that because I don't need, certain things. I just don't need things to be procedural. This is another thing that people really have struggled with, is thinking that when you're doing things procedurally, that everything needs to be procedural. In most cases, no. Only if your boss says so. Okay, if you really need particular thing, and your boss says, "Hey, this needs to be completely procedural," then yeah. But usually, if you get a concept, you get
Yeah.
a concept, and then you do things how you see on concept. So, yeah, I would say Houdini is a great hybrid modeler, which can do procedural thing, and of course destructive modeling, which
Yeah.
in essence it's not destructive because you see everything is alive pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Really the biggest thing that can be not procedural, I'd say, with modeling can a lot of times be like selections and things like that. That can be the trickiest things. Like if you're doing a specific selection of polygons that isn't based on an attribute, that's kind of the most like non-procedural part of it, right? I would say.
Yeah, one another interesting thing that probably people did not know, when you're actually doing, like, let's say destructive modeling, how you actually keep things procedurally. What's really cool, let me just see what would be the best example. Let me do this. So let's say I make an extrude here, okay, and I want to make sure that I output this group. So now if I go to this list of my groups, if I from here, or of course here, select this group, and now I do another, okay, I can do bevel, extrude, anything, actually that group will be automatically set into a group, okay,
In the
of your
next
next
node.
node.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. That's very
So
cool.
that's one way of keeping everything procedural. That's why I also make sure that I have this list on my keyboard as a shortcut. I can easily go inside and see which groups I have, if I can use something, etc., etc. So very cool, very cool.
So for you, when you're modeling and stuff like that, using groups a lot is how you'll kind of keep the proceduralism as you're going through these different different steps
Not
and
only
things like
that,
that. Mm-hmm.
not only that, you are keeping your selections, so you
Right.
can actually keep your past selections and use them
Right.
later. It's also possible in some cases,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is
Exactly.
very cool.
Yeah, it's super helpful. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's again that the idea of attributes and kind of keeping that stuff on the geometry and letting that flow down your network and stuff like that. And I think that is the power of using some of these like the power of proceduralism, right? I mean that sounds really corny to say it that way, but that using that to your advantage when you can in modeling like this is kind of the whole idea, right?
Yeah, for sure. So and with a little bit of planning, you can do a lot. Like
Yeah.
really.
And I think
But-
really when you're doing modeling anyways, you have to kind of think about your edge flows and different things like that when you're modeling, right? So you have to kind of plan ahead anyways. So if you plan ahead a little bit about those Houdini type things, it's pretty much it's normal anyways to be planning a little ahead, right?
yeah, and the way how you can mix things and just so much freedom and now imagine being like Houdini artist like Jeff, and like you can be a god like. So this is without. So this is no vex. There is no vops, no vex, nothing.
Right. No
Like
programming.
yeah, and unfortunately, the problem is that a lot of you guys that work with Houdini for a long time, you're, and this is something I learned actually at Maxon, that usually like these high profile artists, they're kind of in their own bubble. They know about one topic a lot, but they don't think about anything else. And as long as they're comfortable, in what they are doing, they will not change their ways. So of course, in 30 years, if everyone doing the same thing, just copying, of course, you cannot get something like this. Even side effects don't show this. But I understand why. What you guys did is, if you look Jeff's streams, like for example from 2015 to now, you can see small incremental changes in modeling environment, and unfortunately they are just not mentioned enough, and then they are not like logically put together and then show to people. It's completely forgotten, but it's there. It's definitely there. Like few more improvements make tools consistent, and oh my god, like
yeah, I mean, it's really impressive the stuff that you've come up, that you like, the stuff that you make in Houdini as far as with this model, with different modeling techniques. And I think helping to kind of bring these together and giving this to the community and giving this, kind of way of thinking and way of looking at things, I think is huge. And I think it'll be fun to be able to see to see some of to see the conversation go back and forth and see how people react and respond and kind of keep building it. And kind of like you said, you came to me a little bit as like a sanity check. You said, like, does this make sense? Does this seem like it's logical? And I think you'll even get, there'll be more fine tuning of that as more and more people maybe talk to you about things and are able to kind of think through some of these things. But it's, I think it's really
can't
exciting.
do everything alone. Pete, I just can't do everything alone. That's the thing. I just need few people to be a bit crazy as I am, and just give it a try, and let's see what can happen. That's it.
I think yeah, Jeff's just saying agreed. Modeling techniques need to be highlighted more. Yeah, the fact you have to go back and think about creating other branches and things like that. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it really is like a very free way of working where all of your changes are there for you to look back on. Like it's really unique. Like you don't get that in other programs. Like that's just not a thing. So you get to one stage and you get there and you're like, okay, well, I can't really go back anymore. But you open up a file, from a couple weeks ago, and you could technically go back to things that you've done. Maybe not everything, but a lot of it, right? And get back in there and modify and tweak. So, yeah, Igor, I don't know if you have anything else that you were thinking of showing. I mean, obviously you've shown a ton tonight and this is really exciting.
How much time is left? I mean, how much are we into stream?
I mean, yeah, we've been going for about an hour 40 right now. So, it's up to you. I mean, hey, it's way earlier.
Is anyone else here? Is there any questions?
Yeah, if there's questions or thoughts or anything like that, I think there have been a little bit of conversations back and forth. I've certainly kind of brought things up as they've been asked. Yeah, if anybody has any questions. What's up?
Actually, I would like one thing that I didn't show is actually how would I go from start to finish with rendering. I think that could be also
Oh yeah,
interesting
that's
to
great.
show.
Yeah, great. Yeah,
So
let's show that. That sounds awesome.
so let's see. Do I extract some model or do I something my own? What do you think, guys?
I would say probably for your own sake, just keep it a little simpler, maybe just to kind of show how, to show how you kind of look at getting these models over for render. I mean, probably simpler is better. Just
Okay. Let's see. Let me open some kind of file.
yeah, something smaller.
Wait. So this is guys all for you, which I will share. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is, I would say, properly set up for you. This one was interesting
All right.
to do. Let's see. Is that what I think it is? Where is it? Ah, there it is. But where is it? Where is it in the network? See, I don't have my recipe for. Where did it go? That's weird. Okay, let's. Okay, I know. Maybe. Doesn't matter. Okay, let's say I actually rigged this one with KineFX. I have
really?
a scene somewhere.
That's
Wait.
awesome.
I think I have a scene. Did I put it here? Oh, let me see. So basically, this is actually what I did. All of this. I even modeled with Vellum. Like this one is all SOPs with attribute nodes. I even managed to imprint PolyMarvels here. Like the render sucks, but I mean you can even do this or something like this. So this is like a bit more organic.
Right. And so that's that's definitely more procedural than just direct modeling. That's using more procedural
For
methods.
sure. Is there anything else worth of showing? Like this thing, like this mushroom is also modeled in Houdini with attribute subs. What are they named? Adjust.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. There we go. Sorry, we lost you for 1 second there, Igor. You're back. You're good.
I'm good.
Yeah, you're good now. Sorry.
Okay. So okay. I wanted to load a file. Actually, I wanted to show you this guy. Oh, so here it is. So see, I use KineFX and then like try to
cool.
pose
Do
it.
different poses. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Just for practice. This is guys all practice. You know, it sucks. Render sucks because it's practice. But yeah, this is how I came where I am right now. It's just practice. So how would I go and render this? Well, pretty quickly. So I also have, like I said, this navigation radial menu, which allows me to go object, stage, down and up through the network. So in this case, let's go to the stage. It's already set up. So I'll actually just delete. And first I need to import. So let's import everything. Then let's set camera. Then let's log the camera. Let's like move camera. Let's set like 90, 35. Okay. Let's set up the light. Something like this, but I want to see everything here. Let's normalize the power. Let's press Shift R. Let's make resolution smaller. Let's open snapshot window. Now things will render much faster. Now I need some kind of material, so I would go to materials. I will delete everything here, and now I will import material. This is all of GSG, so let's take something metal. So I can just choose from here. I don't know, steel, dark. Let's just take some. There are too many.
Yeah,
Chat
there
is
are a
doing
lot,
too
aren't there?
many, too many. Yeah, it's crazy.
It is
So
crazy,
if I
but
have
awesome.
this, again, I can use Shift T to have something like this. And then instead of dragging, now you can drag and drop here directly on the model or here directly in the manager. But what I like to do is actually call different manager, which is one on the object level, and actually assign materials here. Okay. What is really important to understand how the logic works here, because if I go back, unfortunately we cannot see, actually we can see a little bit. So right now on this geometry, we have this material. But what if we want to have like more materials on one geometry like this? So let's say this will be my main material that affects everything. But now if I go inside and say, this I want to make glass, so I can just say build material. Let's go to material. Let's say Karma Builder. I don't know, let's wait, something like this. And let's say this will be glass, so transmission have to be like this. EOR is fine, everything else is fine. We can go back. Actually, we can go back here, here. Let me delete this one. And now here, if I use my, I think that's the glass, right?
Yep. Yeah,
This thing will be glass and everything else will be, well, metal.
Right.
So again, let's wait a bit. It's probably too big of a resolution. And also this is CPU. Let me transfer to XPU. So when you're rendering with XPU, usually at the beginning, it's a bit slower because it's compiling stuff. So if you see something like this, everything is fine. Idle means it's compiling, even though it should say compiling. I don't know why
I
this
think
is.
it usually does say compiling. I'm not sure why it's saying that right now, but yeah.
But this is what we get. Let me disable this and let me disable depth. So we have this. So let's say I want to make like another set of material. Like let's say I want this and this, maybe this to be a different material. So again, I don't know which I used. Let's say brass. Let's go back. Let it compile.
Yeah, I think so. This is really interesting because I normally would do this a little differently. So this is really interesting for me to see how you might go about this in a different way, like at the SOP level, and then importing them in that way. And really the thing that makes this possible is using that scene import all, right? That's the thing that makes this really work, because that brings in those SOP level material assignments into Solaris. You could also
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say you could also use groups at SOP level, and those will come in as your right there. You can see that you have geometry subset. Right there, geometry subsets, the yellow ones. It'll turn into those, and you could assign them based on those in Solaris. So there's always a bunch of different ways to do things, but this is really, it's just interesting for me to see some of your workflows and how that works and how you kind of move around in this. So yeah, it's cool.
So unfortunately, there is no UVs, so I can actually show that too. So if I would do UVs on this part, now I would do this, like I modeled this a long time ago, so it's everything pretty much under one geo. So I'll just extract this, freeze. I will freeze it. I will go back. I will delete this part, and I will go back again. And now this part I will solo, and I will just UV flatten, just to show you this a bit quickly, how you can actually like unwrap. Now I can use symmetry, but I'm not gonna play with this. Okay, so something like that. Let's do the same here. I just want to do this quickly. And actually, I want you to see what I'm doing. So again, enable manual. Let's go back here. Seam. Now I'll just do a quick seam here, like that. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe here. Last two. Let's say we are happy with this, even though it's not the best UVing you've seen. But that will do. Let's go back and let's see the difference. It's clearly there. And now on top of that, because of Grayscale Gorilla Materials, if we go back and say, which one was that? Let's see. I had this one.
I think that was I think that was brass or something, right? I think.
Yes, that was, I think, this one or corroded. Let's see. So we can actually, from here, we can scale things down. Let's just see if that's the one we need. You should say
I think it was brass corroded 01, I think was the one that you used, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, here. So we can see it here.
Yep, the material assignments. Yep.
Yes, corroded. So that's one. So we can make things smaller.
Yeah, there you go.
Like this, or bigger, or we can offset, or we can rotate. And then let's say I want to play with light a bit more. So what I usually like to do, I like to do everything on OBJ level, just because I don't want to like make a mess on my in Solaris. So here I can just create a grid, make it much bigger. For the love of God, is this like too small? Because it seems so, like it is. But now we broke everything. So now I'm gonna actually combine these. So combine. Let's see, it's combining. Yes. So now I can actually move it normally all together with the pivot. I don't know why this is so slow, but yeah, doesn't matter.
Might be because of the stream. Sometimes that'll.
Yeah, it could be, guys. Yeah, and it could be that. Let's see. Maybe I have. Let's see if I can make this. Okay, I can do this. So yeah, let's see. We did this. Now the nice thing is we can hide things here, and then under the stage, if you go to scene again, page down works here too. Okay. So if I go up, I can actually force my floor, and it will be rendered here. So it's hidden on OBJ level. Here I can force it to be shown. If I'm not forcing to be shown, it will be invisible.
Oh, I think your camera might be locked in that position. So I think you're just looking at the wrong yes, spot.
Probably. Let's see. Let's floor and then Shift F, or where is it?
Extract object. Yeah, right. There you go.
That's it. Now, why I like Solaris and its lights is because I can kind of quickly, so let's say area light. So I can position it from here like this. So what I can actually do, I can drop into this set view. No. So here, if I go here, I can look through the light. Again, it's locked. So I can move and watch here the changes. I need camera. But the cool thing with these lights, if they're invoked, they're basically tools. So now from the viewport, you can, again, change the distance of the light. You can change, let's see, basically anything from the brightness to distance. And you also can actually, now I will do this. making sure that my area light again is invoked. And let's search for the specular. So I can actually do something like this and quickly position my lights as I see fit. Maybe go to dome light again with my page up, page down. Try to change things. And from here you can like remove items also, or hide. And that's I think that's all. And yeah, if you want to save what's rendered here, you can snap. This will bring your file in .xzr file in your job. I think how you call this, Peter? In your job folder, your main folder.
It's like a variable, or it's like with the dollar job. Yeah, it's like in a variable. So whatever.
The point is that this image will be saved with your file.
Yeah.
But and it will be .exr extension, which you probably maybe don't want. So what you can also do is click right mouse button here and then save image, and then write anything and say PNG, or maybe put a number here like version 001, save. And let's say you want to do another, but this time maybe let's go to camera. Let's activate camera. And maybe we also want to put depth of field a bit. So Shift F to position, not light tool, come on, camera tool. Yeah, so Shift F to get your depth of field plane. So you can actually determine where your depth of field is. Again, Shift F to toggle. And then Shift A, you can actually, from the viewport, set your f-stop. Okay, something like that. Let's say it's okay. And then again, save. This time you want this to be version 2. Again, use your scroll, accept. That's it. One thing I'm missing would be nice to be able to get like a screenshot so that I can copy paste to you like right away. I don't have to save anything. You just snapshot of your viewport, and then I'm copying pasting to your I don't know, Skype, Slack, or whatever.
Yeah, like a way to share your stuff quickly. Oh, that's a cool idea. There's so many ideas for how things could be changed, obviously, but if you are playing around with that that snapshot, there is the cool new render stats in there as well, which are really nice. Like if you're looking to see statistics about your renders and things like that. And those actually, I believe, get saved with the EXR as well. So if you open those after the fact, you'll get, there they all are. So there's everything, and it tells you what, all of the details about how that would be rendered, right? So
by the way, also these panes here, they can also be shortcutted. So in this case, what I did, so I rendered the scene, I took a snapshot, and then with my control, page up, page down, or control and tab, you can actually jump from one pane to another. So very quickly, again, you don't have to click here. You can use your shortcut, and then now imagine if compositing is a thing here, how much could be actually done from Houdini from start to finish,
right?
Especially if you're someone as me. I mean, if you guys don't see the potential here, then I'm insane. Then I'm not. I'm delusional.
Igor, one thing that Jeff just mentioned is that if you right mouse button on a snapshot image, like if you right click on it, you can open it in mplay or open the folder location to share the image. So load in file browser, I think, is what it would be. I think if you do that, load in file browser. So if you right click,
where is that?
It's up second one down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that would be either your that would be your EXR file. So but that would at least give you where the location is, and if you wanted to share something like that, like if sharing an EXR file with somebody made sense, you could copy and paste that. But
Yeah.
Yeah, all snapshots are, yeah.
Preferably, I would like to see that this is possible to change, like the file extension you want your image to be exported.
Yeah,
So in my
that
case,
would,
I prefer PNGs.
yeah, just for
So yeah,
sharing through the web or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't need EXR, and yeah, I
Well,
don't know
I think
why
that
is
would
this
be a
my
great,
video.
another really good RFE too. And you know, we keep saying this RFE term. Basically, that's just a request for enhancement. And
Yeah,
if you have ideas on how, you know, things could work better in Houdini, and you're a Houdini user, like those are certainly welcome. You know, we welcome requests for improvement, and those don't just go into a shredder somewhere in Toronto. They are actually like taken seriously, and we look at them and try to see the validity of what's being suggested and see how maybe that could be, you know, taken care of. So that's a real thing that the developers of Houdini actually look at. So it's not just shouting into the void kind of a thing. So yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, keep, no, you were going to say something. I'll let you
No,
go.
I just wanted to say, like, kudos to side effects devs and everyone there. Like, I work in development. I know the hell, and I can only imagine the hell in side effects. I don't mean between people, but like development hell, you know, where you need to develop certain feature and then present to people. It's not always the easiest task, you know. There is
Right.
a lot of that people don't see in development, you know, and it's really hardening to see, disheartening to see when people bashing company, especially as side effects. I mean, honestly, this is one of not many companies that actually kind of cares about artists, and you can see that. I can see that in alpha. There are many alpha guys, high profile artists. I'm not even sure why I'm there with them, but the amount of feedback
Because
they
you
are
give
giving,
feedback.
yeah, probably, and report a lot of bugs. But I mean, in sense of like being high profile artist, I'm nowhere near them, and just seeing them being humble and trying to help making this software as best as possible, you know, it changes your perspective. So
It does. I agree
for the
completely.
people who are screaming and side effects saying, hey, why don't you just buy stuff from Alexei, the guy who is doing modeler? Guys, it's not that easy. Now, just first thing would be, just because he's not in USA or Canada, sorry, it would be
Yeah.
legal, I'm sure. You would not believe how many legal things comes with the code,
Yeah.
especially
Right.
when there is transaction between two countries. That's the first thing that needs to be passed, and then everything else. And in my humble opinion, when it comes to Alexei, I think his name is Alexei. Uh, he developed awesome tools, like incredible. Definitely, side effects can learn a few things, but he did it in a way that Houdini. I think he made like a app in an app or plugin in an app. So he changed a little bit of Houdini, which, you know, in real development, this is something that side effects probably will never wanted to do. You know,
Yeah.
there is a logic behind what they're doing, and you should follow it.
Yeah.
It just needs to, you know, maybe be a little bit reconsider how you show things and things like that. So it's there
Yeah, it's,
definitely, but
I think that that feedback is really is super kind, but I think you're right on the money. And as someone who's only recently come into some of those conversations, and I think probably the same with you, you've are relatively new Houdini user in the scope of things. You know, um, I think really there is a really amazing group of people that are working there. You know, guys and girls that are just doing awesome stuff. You know, top to bottom in that company. So yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I think Igor will maybe start wrapping this up here, but I, you know, obviously if anybody has any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out on the Discord. I know Igor is there. And I think I've tagged him
email
in
too.
email. There you go. Yep. And you have your PolyMarvels YouTube channel. I'm sure you'll be probably adding some tutorials to that over time and things like that. We'll figure out, you and I will figure out how to how to best maybe get these files and things like that distributed. I have like a Google Drive that I kind of have given access for people to get to. So maybe that's the best way for you to do it for right now. Or if you have a place where you'd want to point people to, we could certainly do that as well. And
find a way.
We'll find a way. And I actually just remembered that I was going to share the file from last week, the little robot guy, and I never got a chance to. I talked to Igor. He's like, of course, share it. So we'll definitely share that. And so everybody can poke through that and take a look at how some of that rigging stuff was done. But yeah, I mean, personally, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on tonight. And, Igor literally was, oh, hey, I mean, these are the kind of conversations that this whole stream idea was centered around, was getting people in a room that can in front of people that can actually talk to these things. I'm not a modeler, I'm not a rigger really. Like there's other people that are much more talented that I've brought on to talk about some of these things. Like this isn't about me. This isn't about some brand or anything like that. It's just sharing knowledge. Right. And so
yeah,
the fact that you're so willing and open for that, like, is amazing. Like, that's so cool. And I think just I'm excited for people to take a look at some of these the documentation and stuff, even just that you've made of how you've set up your shortcuts and all of that stuff. I mean, it's like, that's a really deep level to go into for something like this. And I think it's really appreciated. And I think people really will enjoy like playing around with that and seeing how they can kind of take this vanilla Houdini experience and kind of, with a few simple tweaks, turn it into something that is a really, really like strong modeling platform to be able to do stuff, right? And will only be better over time with, everyone's feedback too. Because like, if people start using this and go, oh, there's this one little thing that would be great to just change, yeah, send an RFE in, let the developers know about it, and those are all things that'll be considered and as we move forward. So anyways, Igor, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And I don't know, do you have any parting kind of words that you'd like to say or anything like that?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks everyone for being here. And thanks my girlfriend for sticking up with me. She's the only one that knows how much time I spent on this. It's crazy. So yeah, thanks to her. By the way, I have imprinted her name on this plate here. So she's Amy 2411. That's her birthday. So I wanted to make something that.
That's really
thank
awesome.
you for understanding and everything. It's very important to have that. And you're also lucky in that regard, as far as I understood.
My wife deals with me doing this once a week in the evening and not hanging around with her for a little bit. And she's a graphic designer and she understands a little of the crazy. So sometimes we'll both be doing stuff she'll be drawn away and I'll be doing stuff and
super cool.
So it's cool. But well, Igor, thank you again so much for joining us this evening. And maybe in the future we'll be you'll get me to play around with some of these modeling things. That would be maybe a good idea.
What do you say about that idea? It doesn't have to be for a long, like an hour stream. We can do it. Everyone else can follow.
Play around for sure. I think it would make a lot of sense for me to play around with it. Yeah, I'll have to see like exactly what we'll see where that goes. But anyways, I think it's awesome. I think it's a really cool thing, and we'll definitely get those links out for everybody to play around with. So thank you everybody for joining us this evening. Thank you, Igor. And that's it for this evening. And I guess we'll see you guys all next week for another stream. And thanks everyone for joining. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yep. Bye everyone, and good night.